good evening, and welcome back once again. We are here with another match preview. FA Cup fourth round, Arsenal taking on Southampton. It should be a good one. Kick off tomorrow, 12:15, I believe. And here we are. We're going to get straight into the preview. And I'm joined today, of course, by a very special guest. Seen him on the channel a few times. You've probably seen him elsewhere on other channels as well. He's becoming a bit of a regular on here. And every time I get him on, I love to talk to this guy, make some great points. Proper Arsenal fan. Big up to him. African Gooner, how you doing? Let me just get rid of this, bro. Here we go.
Well, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Had a difficult couple of days, really. COVID and all that lot, you know.
Okay. Hear that.
But it is what it is, you know. My daughter tested positive, and
Wow.
I'm currently in self-isolation for the next 10 days at least. That's if I don't get it myself. But there you go.
Hopefully I can give you a win tomorrow.
Hopefully that'll cheer me up. You know, COVID or no COVID. If Arsenal are winning, it's always there to make you happy. Of course.
That is true.
So, before we even get into the game, anybody who is watching, if you haven't already, please make sure you smash the likes up. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel as well. And make sure you go and do that. First things first, mate. First things first, I want to get into, obviously, the transfer window. How have you rated the transfer window so far? I mean, it's looking like we've brought two new players. One of them.
Let's wait to see the confirmation for the second one. But yeah, it definitely looks like two players within like 48 hours, which is incredible, especially with, the goalkeeper. We didn't even hear about that one. That just was completely a done deal. And that doesn't really happen that often for any club. So I don't know how they managed to sneak that. But I think it's a really decent goalkeeper, Premier League proven, decently cheap option, fits the bill and everything, and I think we'll do a good job. May even, play a Premier League game here or there, depending on how heavy the schedule gets for Arteta and the team. But yeah, the Odegaard one is the one that I'm definitely looking forward to. I really didn't expect it, to be quite honest. I thought like we would just get unlucky and he would end up going to Real Sociedad. And we would just have to end up getting an Isco or someone else like a Buendia, or we would have gotten no one and said that there's just nothing in the market. So like hopefully we can get it over the line. It's quite exciting. I want him to play next to Partey and keep Smith Rowe where he's playing. I think that would be a really versatile and creative team, and he can get into form, and then you can play El Neni, I guess, and Xhaka in the FA Cup, and kind of have two different teams. And if we progress in the FA Cup maybe to the semifinals, then you start playing Partey and other players, I guess, and start figuring that out in the FA Cup and play your strongest team. But I think in the Premier League, for sure, I would play him immediately. Like, I don't want to waste time and like get him adjusted and stuff, because by then everything's going to be over and it's going to feel like a waste, because he is going to take a couple of games to settle in. That is my belief. I don't think that he's immediately going to click. Maybe one game, but it'll take a couple of games for him to really find a balance. So yeah, quite exciting. I just wanted to get over the line, really. It looks like it is, but you never know with Arsenal, right? So that's great business. And I don't think that we're going to do anything else. It looks like we're trying to get potentially a backup left back for Kieran Tierney. Very unlike Arsenal, by the way, to be doing this many transfers right now, regardless if it's loan transfers. And like there's some type of ruthlessness about Arsenal right now in the transfer market, which I'm enjoying to see, and I want to see more often. Hopefully in the summer we really do make the changes that we are supposedly supposed to make, and I think that'll make the team so much better. I still think it's a 2-3 year plan in terms of transfer window, because we do need a lot more players, but it seems like we're moving in the right direction finally. So it's good to see, and as long as we keep winning, no one is going to say Arteta out or anything. Everyone's going to keep quiet. So that's what they want ultimately. So they just need to keep doing the right things, which they are right now. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
It's mixed thoughts for me. I look at the Matt Ryan one. There's no doubt about it. We needed to get a backup goalkeeper in. Runnison is 100% not of the level. Matt Ryan is levels above him. I kind of feel as though, as good as it may look, it's also us just plugging gaps, really.
But we need to, and sorry, also we don't want to buy players because, you know, in the summer I think we really going to see Arteta players. Right now I think it's okay to fill the gaps, because I think ultimately they said that in the summer, once they get the rest of the players out and their contracts, they're going to have a lot of money to just rebuild the team, and we're going to need a lot of players, you know, because by then I think we would have let go more than 7-8 players. So I'm okay to fill the gaps, because at least they're filling the gaps with competent people. See, previously we would try to fill the gaps with I think, you know, gambles. You know, Kim Kallstrom can't play, Dennis Suarez. I mean, a lot of the January signings ends up being a flop. So, you know, the goalkeeper is, you know, did he start for Brighton? I'm pretty sure he was the #1 keeper for Brighton at a certain point.
So, last season, the season before that, he was #1. This season, he's moved down the pecking order. He sort of started the first 11 games and then got knocked onto the bench. But no, he's played over 100 games for Brighton in the Premier League. He's got the experience. And at the end of the day, like I say, he's levels above Runnison anyway. The Odegaard one, as excited as I am about it, it's kind of, again, mixed emotions, because if it's only a 6-month loan, what worries me is how long it's going to take him to adjust to the league. You know, we've seen it with previous signings in January transfer windows where they haven't quite adjusted to the league, so you haven't really seen the best of them, and that's the only thing that worries me about that one. But yeah, aside from that, it is good business, and you probably see the video on my channel the other day. I was going absolutely mental about the board and about the fact that we hadn't signed any players. So I can't really argue. We have made a couple of signings, or it looks like we're going to make a couple of signings, even if that is just plugging the gaps. Of course, like you say, we are linked to a backup left back. One of them backup left backs is, of course, Ryan Bertrand, who we shall probably be playing against tomorrow. Talk is he's got his contract runs out in the summer. Yeah. He's 31 years old. He's got loads of experience in the Premier League, previously of Chelsea, but he's been at Southampton for many years now. Would you take Ryan Bertrand?
I think he's a veteran of the league for sure. I mean, he's been in the league for quite a long time now. I remember watching him. I think he's quite a solid player. He's not, I wouldn't say top 10 left backs. I mean, obviously with his age and stuff, but I think he's been playing consistently, and obviously with age, a little bit of you know, form and competitiveness is dropped definitely. But I think the main purpose is just to play him in smaller games, because Kieran Tierney ultimately can't play every single game for, you know, the entire season. So I think it would be a good move for me as a backup player. It's just weird to have both Cedric and him as, like, you know, backups, as both like almost retired players as backups. But I mean, it works again temporarily for a year or two. It's, you know, it's a short-term project for me, but I would do it if it doesn't. I mean, it's going to be a free transfer, right? So if we're not paying a big wage, I would do it, because I really want to see new midfielders, and I want to see a new striker and maybe a new winger, you know, maybe a new defender. I don't know, right? So we need to see what's going to unravel with the team, and yeah, I don't know. I'm quite excited. I feel like there's a lot of positivity to look forward to, especially, as I said, if the second signing happens. But he needs to play. That's the problem. If he doesn't play, there's no point. You know, there's not going to be much of a change. But I think if you take a chance and you really play him, you know, and he doesn't get injured, I think he's better than Ceballos for sure. He's better than Xhaka and El Neni. So, you know, I think him and Partey, it's like we would have a brand new team, you know, because of that midfield, even with Smith Rowe playing. You know, those three together, I think, would be a brand new team for us. It's like we start from scratch. Aubameyang started scoring again. You know, Lacazette has been scoring, and unfortunately, Willian and Pepe are rotation players. You know, they're bench players to come to make an impact. And we have our team, and Martinelli obviously can even start, and Lacazette can drop out of the team and sub with Aubameyang. There are a lot of options that we have now. It's really nice to see. But I don't want the dead players, aka Xhaka and El Neni, to keep playing and kind of use Odegaard as a backup player, or a rotation player. He needs to play. We brought him for 6 months. Play him. I think that there has to be an agreement, right? The reason he wants to leave Madrid is to get playing time. It wouldn't make any sense, but it would be very Arsenal-like for him to come and not play at all. So that's really where my stress comes from, I just want him to play.
Yeah, and like if he gets injured as well, Jesus.
Yeah.
We might not see him at all. But there you go. I've also noticed as well that he can play on the right-hand side. So do you feel like that's probably also a bit more of a nail in Nicolas Pepe's coffin as well, because he can play on the right-hand side. So if he has to use there,
I feel like Arteta's style is more versatile, at least in this new formation where, like under Arsene Wenger, a lot of the front players are interchanging. And I think that is ultimately the goal with Arteta, is to get Willian and Pepe and Aubameyang to all kind of move around. Lacazette, who can also move around, quite well himself. So, I think, I don't know. Do you really believe that he's going to play as a right winger? We have so many options, and Saka is doing really well right now. So there's no point of changing that at all, regardless of if there's Willian or Pepe. So, just keep it the way it is, really, and play him in midfield, because that's really where we need help. We've been crying out for a creative midfielder, regardless of if he's young or he's a low knee. Play him. That's why we're getting him. That's a player that we've been missing, and I think he's not just a cam. I feel he can play in the Ramsey position as well. He's really good. He can shoot from outside the box, and he has a good engine on him. He's 22, so I don't know. Even playing Ceballos and him and Partey, we have a lot to try. That's the thing, and I think ultimately with Thomas Partey just being there consistently, we are allowed to try and one or two players and see what we can do and the chemistry we can build for ultimately a Europa League semi-final or final. That's the goal that we need to achieve this season, right? That's all we really can hope for. So, that's the ultimate goal for me to determine if we have a successful season. And I think we have a shot now, really. If things continue to go right for us right now, and then Odegaard integrates into our team, why not? I mean, I would do. Frankly, I have more confidence in the Europa League knockout game right now with him playing in the team. Really, without even him playing, I already just feel more confident that we can actually get through to the next round. So. That's what you want as an Arsenal fan, hope, right? But like tangible hope with the good players, decent players, and I qualify him as a decent player.
Okay. Just before we get into a couple of these comments, I just want to ask you, right? If these two players, Matt Ryan and Odegaard, are the only two players that we get in this January transfer window, and then you also bear in mind as well the fact that we've, sent Kolasinac out on loan, Ozil's gone, Socrates as well, to name a few. Matt, is it Matt Macy? Yeah, Matt Macy as well. What would you give out of 10 for this January transfer window?
With those two, and all the outgoings, 5.75. Between 5.5 and 6, really. I mean, because I feel like if we get rid of Mustafi or one more player, I think we will get rid of Gunnarsson on loan, which is really embarrassing, because why would we have him in the squad instead of Ozil or Socrates if he only was going to play one game against Man City to try him out to see if he's really good enough? And what a stupid strategy it is to play him in a cup, game against Man. I mean, anyways, so yeah, I mean, I'm up for it, really. I think it'd be a good idea.
Okay. We're going to get into a couple of these comments before we move on then. Vishal, is that? US says, Odegaard is a fine player, but we definitely lose him in the summer. Guys, who do you see as our long-term number 10? And what are the other missing pieces of the puzzle, in your opinion? Go for it, mate.
I mean, yeah, I just wanted to add on the last point. In terms of the transfer window, if we buy, do you think we need to buy another player? I said 6. You didn't tell me what you rated it. I said 5.756. I think we need to get rid of one more player, but I think ultimately strong enough squad. You?
I would say
You would rate it higher than a 6? I think we
nah.
still went a bit cheap, which is why I'm saying 6. If we sign like top players and it was like permanent deals, I think I could have given it maybe an 8. But I mean, yeah, with loan deals, I think 6, and I think it's fair. I mean, I still didn't expect this much, which is the funny part, and I got more than what I expected already, right? So
Yeah, no, I would agree with you, mate. I would say between a 5 and 6 as well. You know, I do feel like we could have probably done a little bit more. You know, in the sense that I don't know. I just my ambition as a fan and where it's at compared to where the club is at,
yeah,
we're probably not right on the same page at the moment. I just feel like people are screaming about Jack Grealish, for example. Oh, it'll be all right. We've got Odegaard on loan, and we'll go and we'll get Jack Grealish in the summer. We need to go and do that. Well, my answer would be, why don't we just go and get him now? Pay the
exactly.
money and go and get him now.
And less people are in for him now. His price will be much higher in the summer, and there'll be way more teams in for him than to buy him now when there's a set price and it might be high. But I mean, ultimately, you can just get him and prize him away because no one else really, is gonna
Exactly.
pay money right now during a pandemic. So yeah, I totally agree with you. But I think the problem with Arsenal is like I think I have similar ambitions to you than in what I want in terms of transfer market dealings. And I feel like the club keeps promising us that that time is coming, but ultimately they keep pushing it back each time. So now they're saying it's the summer, and then let's see what they do in the summer, and they'll be like, no, in the January, and they just keep pushing it back. That's the problem. But I think really this summer is the first time in a long time that like we actually seriously need a rebuild, and a lot of these players ultimately there's nothing we can do anymore. They've served their entire contracts because they were so bad. No one wanted to take them, regardless of if we kept forcing to play them in our team. And now they're going to be gone. We're going to have to actually replace them with decent players, regardless if it's championship players, because there's no way we're going to be able to afford to go buy a world-class player to fill all those voids. So I just want us to buy like competent players that can compete, like I don't know. I don't expect a Grealish. There's no, or a Madison, 100 million. No way Arsenal's going to be spending that. Maybe 100 million on 3 players that are, quite above average. I think that's going to be the strategy. And they're going to be Arteta type players that are able to just work really hard and combine and stuff. So it's going to be interesting. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see how we do tomorrow, because everything can change with a blink of an eye. But yeah, right now feeling quite positive.
Exactly. Christopher here says, I was expecting loan signings, but these signings are only short term. Suleiman in the chat as well. Good evening, gents. Good evening, Suleiman. How you doing? We will get that stream arranged, mate. We will get that stream arranged. I've not had a lot of time this week. Like I say, I've not been particularly well, or my daughter hasn't anyway. So we will get that arranged. I promise you that. Chris again says, I really fear for Pepe. I think come the summer he will go. What do you answer that?
Yeah, my answer to that, Christopher, is like I want that too. I totally agree, but I don't see us doing it. We would take such a massive loss, and I'm sure we've all seen the 160 or 180 million loss that we've taken on our assets so far. Oh, sorry, you're still there? Yeah. So I mean, yeah, we can't afford to lose more money on another player. I don't know what we're gonna do. We might have to loan him. I'm not sure. Loan him with a permanent deal, option to buy. I don't know. But yeah, his value right now, I mean, how much do you think he's worth? 30 million, 40 million? I mean, that's already half of what we paid. It's ridiculous,
Yeah,
that's enough to buy another decent player.
I think you probably get £40 million for him maximum. It's clear that Arteta doesn't rate him, because one thing that stood out to me in the last game against Newcastle, just before the game, he came out with a load of quotes. He was talking about Nicolas Pepe, Arteta, and he was basically saying that, we need to help Pepe, we need to give him more time on the pitch, this, that, and the other. But then what really stood out to me was the fact that he didn't start, which is fair enough. But then when the game was done, he didn't even bring him off the bench. He chose Willian ahead of him. So that really did stand out and make a statement to me. I don't.
You think so? I didn't read too much into that. I didn't think it made that much of a difference. I mean, he only came on for what 10 minutes or so, so I
Yeah,
don't
but
think it
so,
matters. I
you
think
bring
he's
on
gonna
Pepe,
start.
try
He's
and
gonna
give him a bit
start
of confidence.
tomorrow, so that's why I think. I
Mm.
think he will start tomorrow, and I think Martinelli will start tomorrow as well. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if Willian will start tomorrow. I think he might start on the left. Let's see, or he might start on the right. Pepe on the left, Martinelli up top. I'm not sure, but yeah, my gut feeling is that Pepe will start tomorrow, regardless of where. So that's
Okay.
maybe why. And then William
Chris,
will start the game after, because we know in 3 days we're playing them. We're playing them in the league again.
yeah, that's true. That is true. Chris here as well says, "Have you heard anything regarding Balogun?" The last thing I heard was that Mikel Arteta is still pushing for Balogun to try and to get him to sign a new contract. He claims that Balogun does have a future at Arsenal. My only question to that would be, well, if he has a future, then why don't you at least put him on the bench? If not, play him in these sort of games. But he doesn't seem to do that. What's your feeling on that, African Gooner?
I don't know. My gut feeling is that if he did that, he'd be compromising relationship or uprise in Nketiah, because Nketiah hasn't played for a while, which I totally agree with. I don't think he should be in the team at all. I mean, it's cool for him to be on the bench, but ultimately, there are only very rare scenarios where I would actually try to bring him in and for him to win the game or make any impact, right? So I think that is probably the reason. Maybe we're waiting till the end of the transfer window and then we're going to do that and then sell Nketiah in the summer or loan him out or whatever. But I mean, yeah, I think, come on. I mean, what is he going to do? He's not going to really play anywhere. I mean, what's the point of putting him on the bench? So I think they just need to be quite honest with him in his position and make a decision ultimately. Are they going to keep Nketiah and are we going to keep trying that over and over again? Or are we going to give a new academy kid who has proven himself quite well, but I think he also has quite a bit of an ego in terms of like he's expecting quite a lot, from he's done well, but it's been very little. It's only been 3-4 games. You know what I mean? You have to work hard to make it into the, Arsenal first team and demand this type of contract and that type of money, right? So, yeah, ultimately, I don't know. I feel like he will leave. I don't think that we'll be able to guarantee him what he wants, even though I would like us to. Ultimately, I don't think we will be able to. And yeah, I mean, we have a big striker problem, as we know. Lacazette in the summer gonna have 1 year left on his contract, and we need a new striker. So let's see what happens. We are not proactive. You know how we are. We're gonna leave it until the summer. It'll be a mess. We're gonna have to spend more money than we would technically have to solve our issue. And even when we do, it's not gonna be someone that's gonna last 5 years and be as productive as we hope. You know how the story goes, right? And this is the cycle that keeps happening, right? Unfortunately, there seems to be a little bit of a change, but they still have a long way to go, as I've demonstrated.
Oh yeah, there's an awful long way to go. I'm just going to read a couple more of these comments out, and then we'll move on to the obviously Arsenal Southampton preview. Chris says, if we don't tie Balogun to a new deal, we are playing mad suicide. Vishal says, African Gooner, but that's what we do. We rarely make profits in the transfer market. That is true. Yeah, it's true. And of course, Suleiman says, if I was Balogun, I'd leave. Yeah. Him not getting a chance over the overrated Eddie. Let's not forget this guy that couldn't even make a championship side in Leeds. So how the hell is he good enough for us?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say it's maybe something about being a homegrown player or something, but I mean they both are, right? So, yeah, it's just really weird. And we've bought a lot of promising youngsters as well in the academy. I think one is playing tonight, so there's still more to come as well. So they need to figure it out. I mean, it's going to be really embarrassing if we sell him for nothing and he's going to be worth 20-30 million in a couple of years. I mean, just embarrassing.
It's just the typical Arsenal thing to do. That is.
How much did Ryan Brewster go for? I mean, and he was quite a similar player in terms of stature and achievements as well. I mean, he definitely played more games, but I mean, he had the same hype and was performing at a similar level. He was scoring and assisting as well, right? So,
and then you got, I think Liverpool got £20 million for Dominic Solanke as well, who never even played in the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a complete madness. I really don't get it, to be honest. But anyway, we're going to move on, of course. Arsenal taking on Southampton at St Mary's tomorrow, FA Cup fourth round fixture. We just about scraped past Newcastle, needed extra time to do it in. And of course, this is going to be a bit more of a tougher game. Southampton doing really, really well this season. I think, are they fifth place in the league now? Or is it
I'm not too sure, to be honest, but I think it's either fifth or sixth.
Yeah, it's one or the other. And of course, we are sat in 10th. They got a few problems at Southampton at the moment. I mean, I'm hearing about one or two individual players that they're trying to tie down to a new deal. One of them obviously being Ryan Bertrand, the other one being Danny Ings. They're kind of refusing a little bit. It's probably causing a few issues in the dressing room and that. And of course, we've already played them once in the Premier League. That 1-1 draw. Theo came back and got a goal against us. That's just about typical as well.
Leno was a good goal, to be honest.
It was a good goal.
Like 3-4 chances to score those for us, but on his first try against us, he scores. So yeah, classic.
How do you see this one going, mate? How do you see this one going?
Well, I've been quite right, and remember I did predict 3-0 on the previous fixture. So I don't know. I feel like it might. I still feel like we're gonna struggle to create. I feel like Xhaka will be in the team, and Nenny and Partey will be in the team, but I still feel like Partey can't do everything, right? Which is why I'm quite excited for this Odegaard, and I want him to be in the team. I'm not sure. I feel like we're gonna win for sure. It's our cup. I feel we're gonna win. I just don't know if it's gonna be 1-0 or 2-0. As in 2-0, we just dominate the game. We score 2 quick goals and that's it. Or 1-0, we are really boring first half, and then second half we turn up the pressure, and then eventually we find a goal in around the 70th or 80th minute, right? And we just win 1-0, and we defend for our lives, a heartbreaker till the final whistle. So it's going to be either one of those two situations for me. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, it'd be crazy if our new keeper started tomorrow, but I just don't see Arsenal doing that. But I think it'd be really cool to see that happen. I mean, especially if he's been training and stuff. I mean, it's not like he flew to a different country or anything, so that'd be really cool to see. I don't think like Southampton is such a dangerous team for us to be worried to play him. If he's fit, that is, of course. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think? I think we'll win. We might struggle the game after in the league, but I feel like, there's just something about the FA Cup right now. We managed to find a way to even win on penalties.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mad one, really, because like you say, FA Cup and all that. We're the most successful team in the FA Cup. Of course, we won it last season as well, and we do just find a way to beat these teams in the FA Cup. I do think that we shouldn't take Southampton lightly, though. They are doing very well this season. I do think they will play a strong lineup as well, or go as strong as they can. Yeah. Whereas I can see Arteta making 1 or 2 changes, that could weaken us a little bit. I'd like to see Emil Smith-Rowe start this game. I know he's been starting a lot of games in recent times, but you sort of see against Newcastle in the FA Cup that without him there, we have no link between defence and attack. Willian doesn't do a good enough job. There isn't really anybody else. Obviously, Odegaard, even though he's coming in, he's not going to be ready for this game tomorrow. That's for sure. So I just kind of feel like it all depends on Mikel Arteta, really, and the lineup that he chooses. Do you think Matt Ryan will start tomorrow?
No, of course not. It's Arsenal. That's why I said that's a dreamland scenario for me, because I just really would like to see him, and I think it'd be a cool story for him to just come in and have a clean sheet and we win the game. That'd be cool, and I think the fans would enjoy that. But ultimately, I think we'll play safe. We'll play Leno, and he might play in the next round, or maybe in the Europa in the first leg. I don't know. Let's see.
No shout for Runnison then.
No, definitely not. I mean, it's really sad, and it's not often you see someone be signed by a top football team and then play one game, have a really bad screamer, and then basically never play for the team again. And I think that might happen with Runnerson, and that shows bad management, and we made a bad buy, right? And I think the reason we loaned this goalkeeper is because we have a target in mind, I think, for the summer, and I think that's the guy that we're trying to get. I think David Rea is his name, the goalkeeper. I'm not sure. But yeah, so yeah, let's see. This guy's played 100 something, 140 Premier League games, so it's quite different scenario, right? I mean, yeah, we should have done that in the first place. We should have signed that guy on loan for the entire season instead of buying Runnerson and then end up loaning him, after half a season. Just ridiculous, man, ridiculous. Waste of $2 million.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you again. So of course, we're going to get into starting lineups, and I'm going to go with you first, mate. What do you think starting lineup?
Starting lineup. What I want or what I think Arteta's going to put?
We'll go with what you want. We'll go with what you want.
Okay. So I would say Leno, because I know, like, ultimately I know it's not going to happen. So let's say Leno. Leno's going to start. I would go right back. I would go Cedric. I would keep him. He played really well. Let Bellerin sit on the bench and, like, just get re-energized in terms of competitive nature, and, like, remind him that he still needs to compete for his spot. Ultimately, that was the reason why Cedric came in this team, and now he's showing that he can play, at a better level than Bellerin, and just now to see if he can do it consistently. So I think another game would do him really good to see if it was a fluke game and he just really had a great game, or if that's the level that he can perform. And it's against his obviously former team, so he'd be really stoked to play really well against them, his former team, obviously. So I think it'd be a great game to play them. It's also it's not the league, so if he doesn't have a great game, it doesn't have the worst of consequences for us. So I'd play him. I'd play Rob Holding, bring him back in the team, let him play in the cup. I think that's where he should be playing. Let him play with Gabriel, which for me is a starter in all our teams. But I think he also needs minutes ultimately. I think Mari's injured again. I mean, I don't know how he's injured again. I mean, what's going on? I mean, seriously, what's going on? Just everyone getting injured, man. So
I mean, the talk is that if we play Pablo Mari again for another game, then we owe Flamengo £1 million.
Yeah, but that was last game or like 2 games ago, so it doesn't apply anymore, right? He should be able to
I don't know. I don't know whether it goes on appearances or not. I'm not sure.
I think it was like Chelsea when that was the case, and he wasn't in the team, and they said, like, he was sick or something, or he was, I don't know. They made up some excuse. But anyways, so I don't think Mari's gonna be in the squad. So yeah, and then left back, Tierney's gonna play, of course. There's no question. You can tell that without him playing in our team right now, it's just not the same team. And I've been saying that for a very long time, I've had arguments with a lot of Arsenal fans who didn't really understand and realize Tierney's potential and how important he is to our team. Really, he kind of is our creative midfielder at the moment. That's how important he is. Kind of the way, if you had to draw the lines of how our team works, it'd be really skewed up because everything is going through him. Really, So yeah, no, of course, has to play.
On Kieran Tierney as well. Obviously, we don't really. I know Aubameyang's captain, but we don't really have a proper leader in this team. For me, I think Kieran Tierney should be captain. What do you think?
Well, if Aubameyang plays, that won't happen because it's just disrespectful, and I just, Arsenal won't do that because it's not part of our culture and values, blah blah blah. So, yeah, I mean, if Aubameyang doesn't start, I 100% would give it to him, but ultimately, I know Holding will get it somehow. So, and I'd rather give it to Leno over Holding, to be honest. But anyways, it's a different story. But yeah, I'd give it to Kieran Tierney. I think Aubameyang shouldn't be the captain, but I feel bad as well. Maybe they can be co-captains because we've had 5 captains last season. So we know, it's not abnormal to Arsenal, even though it's abnormal to the rest of the world and all the other teams. But yeah, so technically we can have 2 captains, and he can be captain one game, like an FA Cup, and Aubameyang can be captain in the league. I don't know. That's not really normal to see, but I think in this day and age, nothing is really normal anymore, right? So why not?
Okay. Midfield pair?
Midfield pair has to be Partey and I would say Ceballos or El Neni. either or. I mean, there isn't much difference between a lot of these players for me. They're quite, they're quite alike. So I don't want Xhaka in the team. I mean, I saw some stats about him being a progressive passer and stuff, but ultimately the real stat in the entire graph is the safety, and safety is correlated to the color, and Granit Xhaka's color, although he's really high in terms of all the other stats, is green, which means that he's a very safe player, and that's why his stats make and show him as such a good player, is because he makes such safe passes, and he doesn't take any risk. Where you see the best of players are the players that take risks and have those stats, but are still in the red zone in terms of taking risks and not being safe. So yeah, I mean, I don't want him to play. I really want to sell him in the summer. I want to move on, and I'm really enjoying not seeing these Arsene Wenger players, including Bellerin. I mean, I want to really move on from all these players, apart from maybe the academy players. They have a little bit of an excuse, apart from Nketiah, Willock, and those guys, which I want them gone anyways. But I'm saying the rest can really stay till the summer. So let's see.
Okay. Left wing, right wing, number 10.
Yeah, I mean, that's easy. I would stick with the exact same front four that we played last match. So Smith Rowe, Saka playing on the right, Lacazette playing up top, and Aubameyang playing on the left. I don't see. I think Pepe will ultimately play. I think he will play. I don't know why. I have a gut feeling that either him or Willian will play, because they've been rested, and we kind of need to rest our star players. But ultimately what I want is to continue playing our best team, and maybe win the game in the first half. As I keep saying, play really strong first half. Take them off. Take an ice bath. Have some chocolate milk, and let the backup players just carry the rest of the game, and then they could be fresh for the next game, or fresh as much as they can be, right? But if we play a weak or mediocre team, that's why we will be 0-0 until the 70th minute, when we bring on a Saka or we bring on a Martinelli, and they end up changing the game and winning the game for us. I don't want to have that type of game. I want us to be quite assertive, score, and just carry out the second half with a professional, performance. And that's how it used to be, Brandon. A lot of the big teams, we used to score 2-3 goals, and then it used to just be about just having a professional performance in the second half, and just carrying out the game, making simple passes, slowing down the game, and just not letting them in the game. And right now we're not, although we're scoring still, we're not doing that. We're scoring quite late in the game, right? In the recent games. So we still have a lot of work to do.
Okay. I would probably pretty much agree with your lineup there. That's sort of the lineup that I would go with as well. I've got a few comments here, people putting in their lineups. Michelle here says Leno, Ainsley, Maitland-Niles, Holding, Gabriel, Cedric, Ceballos, Emil Smith-Rowe, El Neni, Martinelli, Aubameyang, and Pepe. What do you make of that one?
So Maitland-Niles, definitely not. I mean, he was terrible, so terrible last game, and that was back to, and I don't want to say that I'm right, but I didn't like Maitland-Niles. Then I became not a super fan, but I became quite a really good fan of him, because he was playing really well, and that's how I wanted to see him play and stuff. And then now that last performance was back to what I was saying. Doesn't care really much, thinks like he just doesn't care that he's playing for Arsenal. I think he's getting quite tired of. One, he had an opportunity to leave in the summer transfer window, and we kind of decided not to let him go and really forced him to stay, and maybe made promises that he would play, obviously, and he hasn't even played. So now when he does play, it's he doesn't really care, and I can understand that, right? So you can tell that he doesn't really care anymore. I think he's ready to move on, and we should have moved him on already. So I don't know. I don't see him really playing much for the rest of the season, to be honest, unless there's some really massive injuries. I think he will end up moving on this summer, and ultimately I think Cedric will hopefully continue his good form, and it will be just Bellerin and Cedric playing on that as a right back, makeshift backup right back. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I kind of feel like, although Ainsley played really bad against Crystal Palace, everybody could see that. I kind of feel as though people were a little bit harsh on him as well, because he hasn't played very much football. So, and it looks like he is completely out of favour with Mikel Arteta. I'm hearing rumours as well that it's because he's not training as well as what he should be. But You know, it is what it is. At the end of the day, the manager is the manager, and if he don't want you there, he don't want you there. I just feel
That's
like
good. I
maybe
like
we
that,
should have
by the
just
way.
accepted.
I like that because under Arsene Wenger, it wasn't like that. He loved all the players. I mean, you know what I mean? He protected all of them. Whereas now it feels a little bit more ruthlessness, you know, which is good. If Arteta doesn't think that you're part of the plan, like Ozil, then, you know, you're out, you know, and it should be the same way with all the players, you know. So that's good. It's good to see that there's a little bit of a change, right? We want that, and that's why I like Jose Mourinho. It's that ruthlessness. I think we need to be a little bit more ruthless. You know, we've been a very nice team everywhere. I think even in negotiations, and we as fans don't really get to see that. But I feel like we're really even in negotiations, we're really nice, and we get stepped all over, right? So it's good to see that that's changing a little bit.
100%. Christopher says his starting lineup would be Matt Ryan in goal, Cedric, Tierney, Holding, Gabriel, Martinelli, Willock, Emil Smith-Rowe, Pepe, Balogun, and Aubameyang. You're wishful
Balogun,
thinking there, mate. I don't think Balogun's going to be
Balogun is
starting at all.
yeah. He might be on the bench, you know, maybe, but
Possibly.
yeah, possibly, but I doubt he'll play. Really, there's no way unless we're winning 3-0 or 2-0, and then we make sub in the 80th minute and he plays 10 minutes, maybe. But apart from that, no way.
Okay. Solomon says the scary part is Tierney is still adapting to this league, and it's once he's going to be used to the league, then I feel sorry for Robertson being named top player in the position.
I disagree. I think he's already adapted to the league. I think right now what we're seeing is that adaptation right now. Of course, there's still a little bit of room to improve, but I mean, there's not much more that this guy can be doing. You know, 8 or 9 out of 10 performance each game. I mean, yeah, when we get better players, he's ultimately going to be better as well because his crossing and everything, and the chemistry with people who can actually head a ball, you know, or expecting a cutback. Tierney is gonna be putting up higher numbers than he is already, right? So, yeah, I think he's. Do you think he still needs time to adapt? I mean, I don't think so.
No, I think he's slowly getting there now. You're starting to see the best of him. I still think he's got the ceiling to go a little bit higher and a little bit better. I think he's probably on par with Robertson personally. You know, we definitely got a very good left back for. I think it was £25 million we paid for him, which is an absolute steal, really, when you think of it. But yeah, arguably probably one of our best signings in recent years, definitely.
Maybe in the last 10 years, probably yes. You know, in terms of consistent, maybe not the biggest superstar like a Sanchez or you know, Adebayor, Van Persie, and Nasri, or one of those guys, but definitely in terms of consistency, one of the best. I think better than Mertesacker, better than Monreal. I think he's already a tier above all those players for me already. Vermaelen, you know, Santos, all those guys. You can't compare. You can't compare any of those guys to Kieran Tierney for me. So yeah, really, really cool. In terms of sorry, yeah, go ahead.
It's okay. Vishal showing some love here. You guys are very good. It's my first time here on Brandon's channel, and I like it. Definitely going to come here more often. Thank you very much, Vishal. I appreciate your support. Big up to you. Of course, African Gooner. Yeah, he's going to be on the Arsenal Lounge a bit later on this evening, so make sure you go and check that out as well. The Arsenal Lounge, big up to them as well. Very good channel and very good for Arsenal content. And of course, African Gooner is a regular on there. So if you want to see more of African Gooner, go and check that out. Yeah, carry on with what you're saying, mate.
No, it's okay. I was just saying in general. I mean, we have what, not 9 days of the transfer window. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if we can shift out maybe Mustafi. I think that is quite important because I don't see him playing at all for the rest of the season. So, you know, maybe we might have another scenario where we cancel his contract as well. But yeah, I mean, quite positive. Let's see how we do in this next patch of run. I think against more difficult oppositions. I think if Thomas Partey played last game, we would have won. For me, really, I think we would have obviously had a better chance of winning, but I think might have been able to score and open up their defense more. But I think going forward until Leicester, United, and the bigger clubs I think we should be winning all our games. You know, in the next 5 weeks, we could be in close to top four. You know, really, it's a real possibility. Look at how the league is. I mean, Liverpool only 7 points ahead of us, and if we had won against we had won instead of drawn, we would have been tied with Chelsea on points, and we would have been 5 points behind Liverpool. You know, so things can change very, very drastically. We need to just stay quiet, keep winning our games, play against United. It's maybe get a draw. I think a draw would be good against United, but win the rest of the easy games that we should be winning. And we could be, you know, potentially getting a place in the Europa League. I mean, sixth place would be a really good season for Arsenal, considering, you know, how we started. I don't know how you would feel. Would you take sixth place right now? I mean, maybe I think I would. Guaranteed sixth place, I would take it right now.
Yeah, I would as well. But also on that, you know, you sort of said about within the next 5 weeks we could be looking at top four, but then it could go the other way around as well, and we could be screaming Arteta out because we're 15th once again.
Of course.
You know, so
but
it is what it is.
Because I mean, Partey was a big. That was our biggest transfer, right? I mean, it was our major signing, and he just really is getting into the team. Still, you can't even really consider him, you know, as a regular in the team until he plays maybe 3-4 games straight. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not making excuses for him because he made a lot of bad decisions. But I think there's more hope as a fan base. Finally played Smith Rowe. We've been calling it for a long time. Even though his hand was forced, now that he can see it, the only reason I get frustrated is if he changes. You know, there's no reason to change a winning formula right now. We've tried everything else. Stick to this formula for the rest of the season until you get your so-called players that you want to bring in, right? So this is the way forward for Arsenal now. Hopefully no more injuries. We've been really unlucky this season, I think, with injuries. And, you know, I think if we stay injury-free for the rest of the season, we get some good draws, there'll be something to cheer about. Because quite frankly, I think the rest of the whole world is going to continuously be in a lockdown. So Arsenal is a big part of our lives right now in terms of giving us happiness and giving us something to be excited about, you know, being locked up in our homes and stuff. So, yeah, no, I'm really hoping Arsenal can turn the leaf. Slowly we are. It's not completely turned, but looks progressive for now.
Okay, I'm just going to get a couple of more of these comments read out, and then we'll do the score predictions. So have a little think. What you think the score is going to be, and I'll come to you in just a second. So Christopher says, I know you're going to say that, Brandon. What does Arteta have over Balogun? I really don't know, mate, to be honest with you. I really don't know. I'm baffled as to why he's not at least getting on the bench, you know, especially when you want this guy to sign a new contract. He should at least be getting on the bench.
Martinelli, Pepe, Willian. That's 3 subs already. Like, Balogun is never going to be considered as, you know, a sub, you know. So what's the point of even putting him on the bench? I don't think he has anything against him. I just think that our squad, as we can see, was way too big. We've skimmed down a little bit. We've gotten rid of players, but we're still quite a big squad of a lot of dead wood, you know, with players on bad contracts in bad situations, including Lacazette, who has less than, you know, a year and a half on his contract. So it's a mess that, you know, previous regimes made, and we're trying to clean up right now. And I don't know, it's very rare that Balogun is going to end up becoming another Serge Gnabry. I mean, I really hope it doesn't happen. But, you know, that I think is a very rare scenario where one of these youngsters end up leaving and becoming like a 60, 70 million pound player. So, yeah, I think he'll do well. But, I mean, maybe a 10 to 20 million pound player in the next few years. And it's not a big deal if we make the right signings moving forward in terms of a striker. We have Martinelli. We have Aubameyang. You know, we just need another new striker. I mean, imagine Haaland. I mean, that would be the dream. That would be the dream.
Yeah, it's never going to happen, though.
Yeah, Haaland, Odegaard link up, Norwegian base for Arsenal. I mean, yeah, that's my ambition as a fan. That's what I would love to see. You know, that's what I expect, is to have players like Haaland, you know, who are the best. You know, there's no way he needs time to adapt and none of that crap. He comes into any single team in the world and he makes you 2-3 times better, you know, on his own. So, yeah, that's the type of player that I want Arsenal to bring. Hopefully Odegaard can be half of that.
Okay. Solomon here, big up to Solomon. Says, Brandon, we're going to make this channel grow big time. Yes, Please do keep sharing that content. Keep liking the content. We've got plenty to bring to you. Of course, African Gooner, he is here on a regular, and he will be here on a regular. And of course, if you want to go see more of African Gooner, like I've already said, go and check him out. He is on Arsenal Lounge. Is there anything else you want to plug, mate? You know, your Twitter or anything like that?
My Twitter is at the African Gooner. And yeah, no, I mean, you can find me there, and back at work. So been grinding hard at work, working hard, and Arsenal has obviously unbeaten in 5 games, so it's been quite positive, and life is so much nicer when Arsenal's winning. So hopefully we can just keep that up. I can keep coming on to everyone's channels and keep being positive and happy, because I wasn't, right? I mean, you can see I don't choose a side. I say it how it is. If we're doing well, I'm happy, and if I'm seeing the right things, then I'm happy. But as soon as things go wrong, I'm not afraid to point it out and say that these are the mistakes that we're making and we need to fix. You know, so yeah.
Question here from Christopher says, Chorley versus Wolves about to start now. Are we in for a surprise tonight?
No, Wolves will win. Wolves will win. You know, and I also called about United, that United was going to be a really strong team. You know, at the beginning of the season, I think once 4 or 5 games in, people were, you know, saying that United was going to be trash and stuff. And, you know, I knew United was going to be a really good team. I mean, take their midfield and give it to us, and I think we'd be top of the league, you know, or easily in the title race.
Okay. Steve here says, keep up the good content, Brandon. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate your support. Thank you for putting in a comment as well. I appreciate everything. So, of course, it's come to...
I want to answer Christopher's last comment. Yeah, like, to be quite honest, Christopher, if you ask Brandon, I'm not the most optimistic, you know, like, I haven't been the most optimistic. Obviously, in the last 5 games, there is reason to be optimistic. Good transfer business. I wouldn't say the best, as I said, a 6 out of 10. But I mean, I don't think we will make 6th place. You know, I told Brandon I think 8th to 10th will be around where we are. But I think it really also is a very unpredictable season, which also makes it really hard, because, you know, even if we don't play too good, we might still end up being 8th or 6th because other people are just so bad. That's how it is right now. But yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of reason to be optimistic. I don't think we will ever be as bad as we were for the rest of the season. There's no way we're gonna, you know, go 2 months lose without a win again. I mean, I don't know. At least that's my feeling. So yeah, there's lots of reasons to be optimistic in 2021.
Score prediction then. Score prediction, and everybody in the comments and everybody watching, get it in the comment section as well.
Score prediction 2-0. 2-0. I want 2-0. Okay, no, wait. My mind is saying 1-0, but my heart is saying 2-0. I obviously want us to score 2 goals. That'd be amazing. But I think we will struggle to break them down, and ultimately we might score. We will score a goal. Whether it's an extra time or whatever, we'll score a goal, and we'll just keep on doing our business and move to the next game and see what happens. That's how we're moving right now, and it's good. Just focus on the next game, take care of the business, and move on.
Okay. Do you think it will be 2-1 within the 90 minutes, or do you think we'll need extra time?
Sorry, I said 1-0 or 2-0, but so you're saying if it is going to be 2-1, if I think it'll be an extra time?
No, like if you're saying 1-0, 2-0, do you think we'll need extra time to get that?
Oh. You mean like the last game? I really hope not, man. I don't want to suffer through that. I want us to score in the first half and just get it over with. But no, I think we'll do it in 90 minutes. I'm hopeful at least it will be somewhere in the second half, around the 80th minute, something will happen and we'll score. And and we'll just shut up shop and move on to the next round. Okay. And it will be Wolves, which I think we can win. It's plausible. I mean, I told you I don't want the FA Cup. I mean, I want it, but I don't want it like we've won it, and it doesn't really. I mean, puts us in the Europa League again. But I want Champions League, so you know it'd be good to win a trophy. But ultimately, I want us to be concentrating on the Europa League, because we know what happened last season. We took it for granted, and we got knocked out against Olympiacos, which should not have happened.
Yeah, I kind of feel like as much as it would be good to win the FA Cup, I kind of like to not win the FA Cup as well, because I feel like it gets us all gassed, and it gets us all thinking that something at the football club has changed, and then we never really move forward from that. We never really progress from that. So, I'm not too fussed about the FA Cup. I think it's going to be 2-1 Arsenal. I think it will be 1-1 in the 90 minutes, and I think we'll need extra time to win 2-1. I think it'll be a tight game. Southampton doing very well this season, and fingers crossed we can get that.
You've been predicting a lot of games that we were going to win, but you keep predicting we're going to concede, and we've had a lot of clean sheets recently. So I'm curious to understand why you still feel like we'll concede. And I mean, I don't know, is Danny Ings playing? I mean, I think he's a threat for sure, and Walcott obviously is a threat. But I mean, apart from that, not much really, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I kind of just feel like, it's typical Arsenal. We can go on a bit of a run where we're not conceding goals, and then all of a sudden we'll start conceding 2, 3, 4 in a game.
Yeah.
We're not going to keep this clean sheet record for like too long. I don't think. I don't think our defense is strong enough, and especially in this competition as well, where that Mikel Arteta is going to reap a few changes and stuff like that. So I do think we'll concede. I do see that. Just going to read out a couple of the score predictions from some of the guys in the comments. Vishal says 2-1. Come on, you Gooners. 11 Raps says, I think it'll be 1-1.
You can't technically finish 1-1 because someone has to win, but yeah.
Okay. Suleiman saying 0-0 at full time, 1-0 to the Arsenal, extra time. If penalties, then Southampton will win on penalties.
Not perfect. That last part needed to be changed.
Okay. And Vishal also agrees that it's at their home, so I think we will concede at least 1. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I believe that right now because it's very neutral. I mean, there's no fans or anything. I mean, it might have a little edge, but I don't think as much as it definitely usually does, right? So, which is why as well we're seeing a lot of these different wacky results. It's because of that. It's very neutral, regardless of the team and the game, right? So I think it's really just showcases talent. It's all about talent and quality, and which team is actually better than the other. So yeah.
And Chris says, "I better not predict." Yeah, I know how you feel about that one, mate.
Win. I mean, however, Brandon, that's how I feel. I ultimately don't care what the score is. Of course, I would love a 4 or 5-0. Like, those are what you dream of as an Arsenal fan. Those are my those are the nights I sleep and with a smile on my face. But ultimately, even if we're winning 1-0 and it's the 89th minute winner, I take that every single game if we're winning. So as long as we win, that's all that matters tomorrow. And no injuries, of course.
Yeah. And just before we wrap it up, I just want to get your thoughts and feelings on the manager, because obviously, when we was going through that bad run, I was screaming Arteta out. I still am Arteta out. And you sort of said that, yeah, I'm starting to turn towards that sort of way. What's your feelings on Arteta now that we've played 5 games, kept 5 clean sheets, won 4 of them? What's your feelings now?
Yeah, I mean, I remember quite vividly that I was 2 weeks or 3 weeks after you when I was, turning that leaf, and that was when we went through a really bad run, and I just kept thinking that the run was going to end, and it just never ended, which gave me no choice but to really feel like he needed to go, right? Because I knew it wasn't his fault, and the players were ultimately crap, but he kept playing them, and he wasn't doing the things that I wanted to in terms of playing Smith Rowe and playing other players in certain positions, and making substitutions at certain times, and what he was saying in conferences, really the Wenger vibe of lying and covering up for the board and stuff, which I didn't enjoy. But I mean, at the end of the day, if your manager is winning games for you as a fan, you can't complain. So I don't want to say I'm Arteta in, because I'm not Arteta in. I still think there's a long way to go. I think we still have a lot of players, to buy, and as I said, they keep pushing that date. So in the summer, really, that's what I'm going to see, what players he buys, and that's when I'm going to be able to make a decision to say, okay, like, is this a serious team that is actually going to compete for Champions League positions and against Champions League teams? Is this the type of football that I want to see in the next 2-3 years in terms of progressive, not sideways, not like this Mourinho park the bus and then counter attack and then score and then defend the rest of the game. That's not what I want to watch, right? So, and apparently that's not the type of football he wants to play. So all those are really gonna come shine in the summer, and I think that's when I can really make an assessment of if I'm in or out. He's not going anywhere now till the summer, so I'm in neutral zone. I mean, if he does make mistakes and we start dropping form because of things that he does, then I will call it out and I'm going to be upset. But ultimately, he hasn't gotten the chance that really he should be getting in terms of players. And that goes as well with Unai Emery. He wanted a lot of players that he didn't get, Zaha, Partey. I mean, just add those two players alone into our team. And I think Emery wins the Europa League and we qualify for Champions League, right? So small margins, but it seems like Arteta is getting a lot of what he wants. The board is giving him a little bit more rope. I don't think Emery got as much rope as Arteta is getting right now. He's getting the signings that he wants, really. I mean, he called for Partey, he got Partey. I mean, they wanted Gabriel, we got Gabriel. I mean, it's good to see. And now, we got the keeper we wanted without anybody knowing. So good signs. Am I right, or am I getting swayed by the club because I love them too much?
I don't know. Only time will tell, I suppose.
Yeah, yes.
Only time will tell. But yeah, no, big up to you, African Gooner. Thank you for coming on.
No
I appreciate it as always. And just before you leave, I just want to read out this comment here. Vishal says, "I don't rate Arteta's judgment, but I think he has good coaching ability." Would you agree with that?
Yeah, but the judgment comes with the players, right? He doesn't have those quality players where if he does make a bad judgment, it doesn't show as badly as if now with shit players, if he makes a bad judgment, it really shows. And I mean, at this level, small margins, and you lose the game, right? I mean, against Aston Villa 3-0, against Burnley 1-0. So yeah, I feel like he'll be a good coach at some point. That's why I'm saying in the summer. I mean, if you give him world-class players, then there's no more excuse. If you give him a serious team to compete with and we go on another losing streak or we keep playing the same boring football, then we know that there's a serious issue, right? If we buy a creative midfielder, a proper one, then, we start to see, and we can take it from there on, if it's Arteta, if it's the board. Ultimately, it's always the board because they need to buy the players, right? But I mean, if they do buy the players, then we can assess if we need to move on and think about getting a new manager. I don't want to go through that whole process again, man. I'm tired of this roller coaster. I just want any manager. I don't really care who it is. I just want someone to come and start making us win. Ultimately, that's all I care about as an Arsenal fan.
Okay. And yeah, like I say, big up to you, my man, for coming on and joining me. I really appreciate it as always. Hopefully, fingers crossed, Arsenal can get the win and get progress through to the next round again tomorrow. It will make me feel a lot better anyway. And of course, guys who are watching, if you haven't already, I know I say it a lot, but please, please, please go and click that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell as well, and then you won't miss a single video. But big up to everybody in the comments. Big up to everybody who's been watching. We're out. Come on, you Gunners.